you?
I'm the monster's mother.
I think people keep making alien movies in a way because unconsciously I'm convinced people actually are as disappointed as I am in filmmakers' inability to match the quality of the first one.
Obviously, we wanted to do something different. I mean, Jean-Pierre wanted to take off, to do something really different from the three first ones. And he took this way of, like the dark comedy.
We read their script and we thought, well, this is just going to ruin this franchise. This just doesn't work at all.
The first thing I said, it was, why you want to hire me? I don't want to make a Hollywood movie. And it was exactly the thing they wanted to hear.
I got involved with Alien when Jorge Saralegui at Fox wanted very much to revive the franchise, and he knew my work and thought, that maybe I could write a treatment that would interest the brass. So I did. I wrote a treatment, and they said, "This is interesting. We'd like maybe to make this, but you have to put Sigourney Weaver in it because originally she had been dead."
I did think Alien 3 was definitely the end. There was never any talk, at least not that we were privy to, that there was a plan, that was ever a plan to go anywhere else with the movie, because it was so definitive with the end of Ripley. Ripley is the conduit to the whole series. So once she's taken out of the picture, there's no point in still investigating that storyline without her. And I do remember seeing, there's a feeling of finality to it. I mean, it's a great scene when she finally, kills herself, and it's a moment of becomes a moment of sacrifice to be able to take that queen embryo and take it into the fire with her. So that just seemed very very definitive. We were very surprised to get a call years later and say, "It's going to be an Alien 4."
We opposed Alien 4, actually, Walter and I. We tried to stop them from making. We didn't like they developed the script on their own. From an idea that was kind of ours, but I told Sigourney at the Alien 3 party, she said, it feels kind of bad to be out of this movie completely, out of the franchise. What are you talking about? I can see them going to a drawer and pulling out some old fingernails and cloning you in your back. Don't worry about it. Oh yeah, she's okay.
It's always easy. I do believe that you should end a film with finality and deal with the sequel later, because there's a million ways to revive a franchise, So it wasn't really of much concern to me, but I was obviously happy when they called us and told us that Alien was being resurrected.
They asked for an Alien movie, which to them means a certain thing. It's certain, scary like Alien, exciting like Aliens, But beyond Let's Bring Ripley Back, there was no sort of guideline. So I was naturally terrified and helpless for many months.
I remember sort of sitting in one of the execs' offices, and they said they were writing the script, and I was stunned, frankly, because one of the reasons I died was really to liberate this series from Ripley, because I didn't want her to keep waking up, oh my God, there's a monster on board. I didn't want her to become like this figure of fun, that no one ever listened to, and kept waking up in these terrible places, one situation worse than the next. So for the sake of the series, and also because I heard they were going to do Alien versus Predator or something that I thought sounded awful, I wanted out. They told me they were writing a new draft and that I'd be very, I would find it very provocative how I was brought back.
The challenge is finding a clever way to bring back a person who died at the end of the film that doesn't seem corny, to convince people that she is back without making it seem too easy. So, I went back and forth with a lot of different things, but ultimately it seemed that I had to clone her.
It suddenly focuses on this particular phenomenon in a very personal way, I think, because it's Ripley, she's back, and there are things about her that she doesn't understand.
But the more I worked on it, the more the movie became about the idea of bringing somebody back from the dead. And as difficult as it was for me as a writer, it's 10 times more difficult for Ripley as a character.
something has gone wrong in the cloning, and so that she's had a sort of genetic mix with the alien. And so throughout the picture, there's this, I think, unease about how much she is of which and where her loyalties lie.
The soul of the piece is her process of waking up, finding out she's alive, and finding out who she is, and if she's what she was, and if not, is she still strictly human.
I think so much of it is original, while the spirit of it is very much a cross between the first and second.
The great part of the script is that we get them out of space and we are moving toward Earth. And I think that gives a focus to the film and an urgency to the film that some of the other aliens may not have had.
The script is amazing. I mean, it's really, really, the ideas in it are very moving, actually. I mean, having the alien be, you know, the daughter of or the son of Ripley, and this whole kind of generational thing, and then eventually there's grandchildren running around, you know, and my character, my character's history, and what you find out about my character, is really, you know, is actually very kind of touching.
So really, I read the first draft by Joss Whedon. I thought it was amazing.
When I wrote it, I wanted to make the character kind of strange and edgy, and I was afraid that Sigourney would say, "Can't we make her pretty and, you know, and likable, and can she have a puppy?" And she just kept saying, "Push it further. What if I'm even stranger? What if I have more alien and less human in me?" And she created an extraordinary character.
I was quite seduced by it. The fact that Winona had already committed to it. Everything but the director was sort of there like a year before we started shooting.
I really like flipped out when I remember the day that they brought it up to me, you know, and I just, you know, they said, well, they figured out a way to bring her back, to bring Ripley back, and that they wanted me to play another character in it, and it was just like, and you know, they were tentative. They thought I was going to go, "Are you crazy?" You know, but it was like the opposite. I mean, I love these kind of movies.
Because it was a good script, because this regime at the studio is very committed, and they're very proud of the Alien series, and they weren't going to just rip off the Alien series and make a lot of money. They really see that the reason the series seems to work is that they always pick a very good, brilliant young director who takes the alien elements and makes them his own.
Every story needs, you know, somebody to latch on to, and the difference between a good and a bad horror movie is whether or not you care about the people, believe in and care about the people in it. Ripley is so much the anchor for the Alien series, and we've gone through so much with her. And in the fourth one, she goes through something completely different. She has changed. She's not the Ripley she was, and she is absolutely the center of the film, and what works in the film works because of her, because of us relating to her experience of it.
It was a big script in Hollywood. It was one of the buzz about it was that it had some things that made it a worthwhile successor to all of these others. And you know, there had been some kind of a fall off, I think, with the third movie for whatever reason. I like them all. I'm a huge fan, but there had been a fall off, and I think that the whole reason Sigourney got involved in this fourth one was because the script was so good.
Each one of the movies is its own. I mean, Alien is very different from Aliens, which is very different from the third. But as a fan, as somebody who grew up with the Alien movie, my responsibility is to scare myself and excite myself as much as possible, and then to be true to the lore and the sort of how these things gestate and how everything works without corrupting that, so that the real diehard fans can appreciate how much further we've taken it without corrupting it, and then people who've never seen it can just have a great, scary, exciting time.
So we read their script and we thought, well, this is just going to ruin this franchise. This just doesn't work at all. And they insisted on making it, and they went ahead, and God, they have Alien 4. They have theirs, we have ours.